Now in 1984 I announced to the Australian government the cure for AIDS and cancer, and I think that was caused by my observation going back as far as the 60s in Africa, when they had what's called the black pox and people were dying of AIDS. They called it Thinn's disease in those days, so I decided I'd cure it, gave it to the Australians, and they didn't want it, of course. I felt at that time that there was enough decent people that would welcome the cure. I really underestimated the evil that was heavily entrenched in all governments and every politician. So I couldn't find anybody. So it's all to do with money and a big business, and we find that the rate of cancer is going up dramatically each year, because it is they're speeding up trying to kill you off as soon as possible. So I had been through Africa and Zimbabwe and seen and warned the Africans there to get out of which was Rhodesia at the time, because the lunatic was coming, which was Mugabe, and he's still there to this day. So I mean, the UN could go in there overnight and take him out, but they don't, of course. They want him there to, because the Satanists, they enjoy the suffering. Now there's a card game in Australia called 500 where you've got to lose every trick by winning, or you win every trick by losing. So that's basically how the game is played, and it's called open misère. So you lay every card on the table and say, all right, prove me wrong. So I was the most royal man alive. I'd been tested by the Department of Education as a child with the highest IQ ever. I could memorise entire books, and on it goes. So the lunatics had taken over the asylum as far as I was concerned. So I decided I'd target one of the laws and break it, and that was to mint my own $1 coins. Now you can slow this down and read it. Now I'm putting this in because at the time I was arrested, I was living with my second wife at 6 Joshua Way, 6 Jesus Way in Cranebrook, which is a distance of 42.9 miles to my first wife, and my first wife is 429 days, same number, older than I. So this is getting into the GPS programs now. It shows you the distances, 42.9, and the age difference between Eileen and I. The 23.43 degrees latitude is Messiah, and anointed in Hebrew, which means Christ. So I minted these coins. These are the actual coins that I minted. Now if you put 7 coins in a circle like that, it starts to reveal the Great Pyramid. Now the circles touching the circles, you got 7 coins. So your 1 coin is touched by 6. 6 touches 2 each. And it will continue the structure out to 5 in total, and it gives you, if you see the pyramid shape protruding out the top, the something like that. We have that, and we are then going into the boss measurements, which I showed you before on the other slide. Goes back to the circles reduced to 2390 pyramid inches apiece, and that is the word cure, to make whole. That's based on the full-size pyramid numbers. So the smaller circle is 19, so that's Isaiah 19. There's 19 rocks remaining on the Great Pyramid, which is the casing stones. 55 in total. That's as high as you can go, and that is why the pyramid ends with 202 masonry layers. You can't go any higher. Once you do this, you see that central 1 touches 6, then the 6 touch 12, then those 12 each touch 1 on either side, and then there's 12 on the outside of that, and it's losing continuity. Now, I don't expect you to understand any of it, but you've got to try it, because there are kids out there, geniuses going to come behind you and they'll see it as plain as day. So there's the numbers that come out of this configuration. So we have purity, Bethlehem, pyramid width, height, coincidence, espousal, clothing, which is the wedding garment. So naturally, when I was arrested, they had no idea what they were doing. I had lured them into a trap. So the circles end at that point. It can't continue any further because it's not going out in a progression. So this is what all these numbers mean. Female parent, bring up children, rock, expectation to look after, the number 5, and the master builder is the architect, which is God. This is taken to the word Abraham. So the structural limit is 5445 inches, which is Isaiah 19:19, 19:20 combined, which is the pyramid in the midst of Egypt, on the border thereof. So the gematria for those two verses in Hebrew is that number. I'll have to go through this quickly because there's too much information. You can stop and pause it. This is the lady and the dragon. So the dragon is mentioned 13 times in 12 verses. Great red dragon in heaven is Draco, which surrounds Polaris, which I talked about in a previous video. So this is because it draws the third part of heaven. If you look at it, it actually is the third part of heaven. This leads to the Isaiah prophecy 63. So remember 202 or 202 is the where Satan is bound 1,000 years, and that is